This is a little bit of an editorial. It's referring to, I was flipping channels just now, just a few minutes ago, and I happened to spot Discovery Channel is doing their 25th anniversary celebration, celebrating 25 years being on the air, and they were talking about some mysteries, some mysterious things. And they talked a little bit about Loch Ness Monster, Nessie, and they of course they'd sent an expedition, a boat to look for Nessie. They didn't find anything, and then they moved on to Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and they showed several photos. They showed a photo of Bill Munns with his Gigantopithecus model and said this is most likely a hoax. What? Well, now wait a second. That's not a hoax photograph. That's a photograph of Bill Munns with his Gigantopithecus model. Everybody knows that. And then they show a few. They show a few photographs of known hoaxed hoaxed photos and things like that. They even showed a clip from a documentary of a recreation of Sasquatch and said that that was a hoax. Yeah, it's a hoax because it was created by somebody in a studio. It was somebody in a suit shooting a documentary. And then they showed the PG film and said this is probably a hoax too. But they said it was probably a hoax. They didn't say it was a hoax. But it makes me almost think, were they trying to say that the photograph of, were they trying to say that the photograph of Gigantopithecus was a hoax? Of the Gigantopithecus model, I should say? Or are they trying to say that Sasquatch is a hoax? Which I find interesting considering that Discovery Channel has been very Sasquatch friendly in the past. They broadcast several shows on Sasquatch, including Animal X. They broadcast that on Discovery Channel and Animal Planet. What else did they? Trying to think what else they broadcast. They broadcast Sasquatch Legend Meets Science. They broadcast several segments on Sasquatch on different programming they've done over the years. Programming on the Yeti, the abominable snowman. So I find this interesting that they would take this skeptical tact on Sasquatch. Um, and plus, they've got coming up the pilot episode for the BFRO series, Sasquatch: The Ultimate Hunt, which is coming up sometime this summer. They haven't even shot it yet. They're supposed to shoot it up in Alaska, from what I understand. And no, I'm not really bothered by the fact that the media would take a skeptical tact on Sasquatch. I'm not even really bothered that the Discovery Channel has taken this skeptical tact. But I'm just here to set the record straight. The Patterson Gimlin film has never been proven to be a hoax, ever, by anybody. Not by Greg Long, not by Bob Hieronymus, not by the JREF, not by Defoot, not by Kitakazi, not by anybody. Anyone who looks at the work of Bill Munns and actually takes the time to study his work and comes away and still thinks that film was a hoax, well, there's no hope for those people. Because, in my opinion, the Patterson Gimlin film is the real thing. That's based on the work of Bill Munns. That's based on what I have seen myself. I saw a Sasquatch that walked very similar to that. Walked very similar to Patty. And it's the same proportions. But for Discovery Channel to just throw, just to throw it out there, this photograph is a hoax. Well, no, it's not referring to the photograph of Bill Munns standing by the Gigantopithecus model. That's not a hoax. That's Bill Munns and his model. Period. That's all that is. It's Bill Munns and his model of Gigantopithecus. It's not a hoax. And for Discovery Channel to make it seem like all these photographs are hoaxes, either that or, like I said, they may have been saying Sasquatch in general was a hoax, which again I find interesting. Um, but anyway, no, Bigfoot's not a hoax. Not for those who've seen one. Not for those who still have nightmares night after night because of having seen one. I mean, look, you've got the footprints with the dermal ridges. You got the footprints with anomalies in them, such as a metatarsal break, such as crippled individuals. You've got the DNA, which comes back unknown primate, or comes back as largely human, except one nucleotide polymorphism of chimpanzee DNA. You've got the strange hair and scat samples. You've got the Patterson-Gimlin film. This is all compelling evidence to show that there's a possibility that there is an unknown primate out there of some sort. So to just throw everything in to where Sasquatch is nothing but a hoax, I think is a bit disingenuous, and I don't think that Discovery Channel should be putting out that sort of information. I think the Discovery Channel should look at it objectively and say, well, I'm looking at this. This is a possible hoax, but not to say this is most likely a hoax. No. Because you can't prove it's a hoax. You can't prove it's real, of course, but you can't prove it's a hoax. So why did Discovery Channel go to the trouble and bother even doing something like this? It just boggles the mind. It's mind-boggling, as the late Renee DeHenden would say. Which is why we need to get people educated by those like Jeff Meldrum, but those like John Bindernagel, like Esteban Sarmiento, and we need to get these people some education. These TV producers and things of that nature. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but this is what we got to deal with, I guess. It sucks, but this is what we got to deal with.